Hi everyone, my name is Marco Baldocchi and today I'm here to share with you this presentation I had for the Italian Institute of Culture for their International Day of the Italian Research in the World. A special thanks to the Miami Scientific Italian community to bring our knowledge all around the world. The topic of today is the neuroscience of consumer decision, how unconscious processes guide our choices before you even realize it. Now we can start. The first step is talking about a little bit about myself. I'm a researcher by training, an entrepreneur by instinct, and a curious father by vocation. I'm former for some university. I had two amazing experiences like the TEDx speech, and I founded the neuroanalysis and just to figure out what's happening in the human mind when we have an experience. The most important thing I've learned, the mind is not a calculator, is a storyteller. And now I want to tell you this story and share this story with you. What drives our choices? In a world flooded by ads, contents, and digital noise, neuroscience gives us a compass, a way to decode the choices we make every single day. What we put in the shopping carts, what we scroll past or stop on, what we remember, and what we forget. The question we are asking today is simple yet powerful. Why do we choose what we choose? And even more provocatively, how much of this choice is truly ours? Today, we will talk about neuroscience applied to consumer behavior. And you know why? People don't know what they want until you show it to them. A very crazy, but very interesting and real phrase of Steve Jobs. He figured out this a lot of years ago. How the brain works. Gerald Zalman, professor at Harvard Business School, figured out that the 95% of consumers' decision making takes place in the subconscious mind, and our subconscious stuff are 200,000 times faster than conscious thought processing. Be honest, who here thinks they make decision based more on logic than emotion? Probably on the other side of the screen, you are thinking, I'm a rational human being, I'm not an emotional one. Are you sure? Probably not. Your eyes followed the arrow, and when you arrive at the end of the arrow, you read, I say left. That's a very short and easy explanation of our brain works. And now I'm going to explain what's happening in your brain just in this moment. You decide before you decide. Um, Kahneman created a theory, and his theory divides our brain in two systems. The system one is intuitive, very fast, impulsive, associative, loves to jump to conclusion, automatic, unconscious, doesn't know why it does what it does, fast, ecological, and economical. It literally uses a little energy. This is glucose. The system two is the rational. It's very slow. It's a system conscious, deliberate, and it's downright lazy, laborious to initiate, reflective, and costly in terms of energy consumption. But what's happened to our brain? The brain was built for survival, not Instagram. In the era, our brain is not so evolved. So it's not so. We check the brain capacity, we see that 2 million years ago, the brain was very similar. So we can't save all the information we receive every single day. You can imagine when we live in a cave, we have just to survive, we have just to eat. Now we receive push notification, emails, marketing messages. Our brain is not built for that. So we are not able to save all this information. So we have to figure out how to create a message that can resonate in the right part of the human brain. Our brain is called cognitive measure. The brain consumes approximately the 20% of our body's energy, yet is constantly seeking ways to do less. That's the reason why we are lazy animal. Some curiosities about our brain. limited conscious processing. It's estimated that our conscious mind processes only about 40 bits of information per second, while our subconscious mind processes approximately 11 million bits per second. This means a vast majority of our decisions are influenced by subconscious factor. The 7-second rules. Before we even speak, it's believed that people form a first impression in just 7 seconds based on our appearance, body language, and demeanor. It's the same for a marketing message. Emotion over logic. While we like to believe we are logical beings, the amygdala, emotional center of the brain, either hijack our reaction, making us act out of emotion rather than reason. And the visual dominance. While it's true that only about the 5% of what we see is transmitted from our eyes to our brain, our vision is dominant sense when it comes to making purchasing decisions. Almost the 50% of our brain is involved in visual processing, and we process an image in 13 milliseconds. Do you remember the arrow before? It was an image. Face first. Can you decode this emotion? What's the emotion of this girl? Anger, probably? Could be. And what's happened here? What's really going on here? Probably they are fighting. I don't know. He has a he did something wrong and she is upset, or wherever they had a bad discussion, or she was just watching TV, or your brain create a story. It's just a picture. It's just a picture I bought from a database. But your brain, like mine, create a story about that. So you have a story in your mind when you see this picture. That's our brain works. That's the system one. The system one is able to recognize an emotion through a face, to create a story. But what if I ask you, do this calculation? Oh, yes, probably you're saying, no, I don't want to do. Why I have to do? No one is watching me. It's just a video. So why? That's the system two. To do this calculation, you have to use the system two, and it's lazy. And probably you are not doing that. Your and my brain is a bias machine. What is a bias? We think we are logical, but we are not. We rely on shortcuts, mental traps, emotional echoes, framing, anchorless, loss aversion. We have a lot of biases. So try to check what a bias is. A bias is an heuristic. An heuristic is a shortcut. When our brain have to solve a problem, we try to find the shortcut, and the shortcut is an heuristic. But when the heuristics, when these shortcuts backfire, that's when biases happen. Yes, I know it seems a little bit complicated. I want to show you two examples to simplify. Who here knows how to tell if a watermelon is ripe? Easy. We knock on it. There is no scientific proof that the watermelon, when it's ripe, has a different sound. But all the people do this, and I do the same. That's a bias. But I want to tell you another story, the framing effect. But this is just a story. You are working at your computer, and immediately your mouse stops working. So you go down. There is a computer shop close to your house, and you go in, and the guy say, "Hey, this mouse costs $10, but I open a new store 1 mile from here, and there, just because I open in these days, you can buy the same mouse for $5." You say, "Yes, it's just 1 mile. I can make some steps. It's the 50% is a lot." So you go down and you go to that shop and you buy the same mouse for $5. It's logical, no? Then you go back home and you restart working and your laptop stop working. So you go down again, same shop, and they say, "Yes, I have this computer. This laptop has a cost of $2,000. But in the other stores, do you remember, 1 mile from here, you can find the same laptop for $1,995." And you say, "Oh, just for $5, I don't want to work again 1 mile." the same $5, the same mile. That's the framing effect. 5 on 10, it's a lot. 5 on 2000, no, it is small. But it's the same $5, it's the same mile. It happens every single day with our brain. Made in Italy once meant quality, craftsmanship, and creativity, and today it holds the less allure, less power to inspire, convince, and differentiate. This is a classic case of semantic suggestion. When a phrase is repeated so often, it loses meaning and emotional weight. It becomes background noise. Made in Italy has been overused, misused, and hampered of its original value. How people figure out this? Scientists try to make a noise. They have a cat in the lab and they try to make a noise. So the cat wake up and they didn't do nothing. The cat restart sleeping and they did it again. And they figure out that the cat needs more time to wake up. And more time till one certain point, the cat stop waking up. Why? Because there is nothing after the stimuli. It's the same thing. Our brain works in the same thing. In fact, if you check top Italian brands like Gucci or Armani, barely use the phrase made in Italy. They move on. And so should we. Neuroscience is about the human being. And especially today, I want to talk about the facial coding, how to read emotion. Facial code is a techniques that we are using. We create a software to do that called Emotive, and it's based on micro expression. Paul Ekman figured out that people from different areas of the world have the same micro expression when they feel the same emotion. Doesn't matter if you are from Africa, Italy, Japan, the United States, you have the same micro expression. So we developed our AI engine based on neuroscience to read this emotion. That's the 98 emotion we are able to read, plus focus and stress. So we have a lot of very fast emotion that are so fast that we are not able to figure out. Our software, yes, thanks to the artificial intelligence. In this case, I made an example with a person. Uh, she has two tools, our facial coding and the galvanic skin response. Galvanic skin response is a sensor she had on her hand. We measure the microsweating, the conductance of her body, and thanks to that, we are able to figure out how much intense is an emotion. That's the result. The red spot is where her visual attention was, her face. Top right, you have the galvanic skin response, so the intensity of the emotion. Bottom left, you have the emotion frame by frame. Here we have just the most important emotion. And bottom right, you have the attention and positivity during the video. Okay, that's our software. And so we analyze this video. And they say, okay, what's happened during this video? From second 3 to 10, the first 7 seconds, because 3 seconds needs to figure out what's happened, blah, blah, blah. Gradual rise in scan conductance, the body is preparing for engagement. Mostly neutral expression, the viewer is entering in a status of focus, even without showing visible emotion. The video builds curiosity without overwhelming. Then, emotional core, 15 seconds to 25 seconds. Sustained activation with fluctuation, dominance of fear and sadness. This is the emotion heart of the video. The viewer is affected both physiologically and expressively, a clear sign of nostalgic resonance. So I say to the girl, hey, are you from Rome? And you love the snow, and especially the freedom is a very important value for you? And she told me, yes. How do you know that? Easy. She had a very high level of nostalgia when she was watching a Fountain of Rome and when she was watching the guy on the bike on the snow, and the image below is clearly a concept of freedom. So we were able to figure out what's happening in her mind without she even talking. And then the peak impact, 29 seconds, the best moment of the video, sharp peak, highest arousal in the full timeline, maximum positivity, peak of attention. The viewer is fully engaged and emotionally rewarded to this perfect moment for a key message. In fact, who would create the video, make the call to action there. Yes, but what do you see? There is something stranger. What's wrong? Her attention was on the clouds. Yes, the image has the like a time lapse, so the clouds were moving very fast, and our brain is activated, and the visual attention is focused on the moving of the clouds. So she didn't read the phrase, she didn't read the text. So they did amazing, but then they made a mistake. They have to create no movement. Only the text have to, only the call to action have to move. Otherwise, the visual attention was not in the right place. And then the final seconds, content drops, signaling release, return to neutral, emotional closure, the viewer feels complete, no lingering tension. That's just one example. Basically, we need from 20 to 30 people to have a scientific proof and to give insight when we analyze a video, a product, or an experience with our emotive. But that's just an example to explain how it works and how many things we can read in the face of a person without our customers say one word. And I want to close with, we are not thinking machines. We are feeling machines that think. Thank you.